Are you a professional woman who wants to create passive income streams and financial freedom through real estate investing? Join us here on Real Estate Investor Goddesses, hosted by Monick Halm. Listen to women who are rocking it in real estate investments as they share their stories of success, failures, and best advice in real estate investing. Start creating real wealth through real estate. Tune in today. Here's your host, real estate investor, syndicator, and developer, Monick Halm.
Welcome to the Real Estate Investor Goddesses podcast. I'm your host, Monick Halm. On this show, I interview badass real estate investing women who come and generously share their stories and best advice with us. And I am super excited to have this badass with us, Pongee Barnes. She's from Chicago, and she began her real estate investing career as a college student at age 20. Gee, I wish I'd begun at age 20. I'd probably be a lot further along. But she's done rentals and flipping, and she has a portfolio that consists of multifamily, commercial, and single family. And her competitive edge is building a real estate portfolio by buying undervalued, distressed properties. And she is an author of several books. She wrote Real Estate and Chill, and she also has a children's book series with little owners teaching kids about investing. Is that something that you wrote with or inspired by your sons, Benjamin and Franklin?
Hi, Monique. Thank you so much for having me. And
you're welcome, Pongee.
Yes, actually, yeah, my children inspired it. I actually was more inspired because I was speaking at someone asked me to come speak at a school for Entrepreneurship Day. And so that's kind of what, inspired the series, is that I was teaching in a school, I was speaking at a school that was underprivileged, and the children weren't really exposed to what entrepreneurship looks like, let alone what real estate investing looks like. So they were so excited when I was explaining what I do as a real estate investor. And so I said, these kids have to have access to this on a daily basis and not just one time a year. So that's what sparked the series.
Oh, that's great. Before we get into that, because I do want to hear more about that, how did you get started in real estate investing? What made you as a college student go, this is something I should do?
Okay, so I was in college, and I'm kind of a bookworm. So I wasn't really partying like all my other, college friends. And so I was broke like most college students. And I was watching these shows that were coming on HGTV and TLC, like Flip This House and different, shows they had back in 2005. And if anybody knows anything about that era, everyone was flipping a property and they were making like really large sums of money, and they were doing really small, like cosmetic repairs to the property. So I'm thinking, okay, all they did was put paint and carpet in the house and they made $100K. Oh my gosh, that sounds so simple. So I was naive, and I actually, got a loan. And during that time, basically anybody could get a mortgage because you just have to be able to sign papers and you have a heartbeat.
Got a pulse, yeah.
Yes, it was so simple. Every bank was giving away, mortgages. So I was able to get one with my husband, and so we were able to buy a condo in Chicago. And it needed a little bit of work. It wasn't like a rehab project. It was just, needed some cosmetic repairs like the kitchen, and we refinished the floors and did some updating in the bathroom. But we did complete that flip, and we wound up actually losing. So my first flip, I actually got a call from my attorney when my husband and I were celebrating, thinking we were getting ready to pick up our check. And he said, if you don't get down here to the closing table, we can't close because you owe money. So my first flip was a big disaster. I did not know my numbers. And yeah, so.
And yet you kept at it. So what made you do it again?
Well, I didn't have a choice, because at the time that I was actually, in the process with a contract with the first condo, I saw another condo that went on sale for $30,000 less than we had bought this one for. And I was like, oh my goodness, we could flip another one in the building. And so by that time I had given my earnest money. I was like in the middle of getting it financed. So honestly, I had no choice, either lose my earnest money so I was glad that one actually turned out successful. We actually made money from that one, but if I had not been in the second one, I wouldn't have kept going. So that was a blessing.
That was lucky.
Yes.
Amazing. And so what inspired you to, well, first of all, tell us about Real Estate and Chill. So what was that was your first book. So what inspired that, and what's that one about?
Okay, so I have younger brothers. They're in their 20s. And when I was, as I'm flipping and rehabbing and things like that, they often, their friends will come to me and ask me how they can get started and things like that. And so what I used to do is just kind of like basically like refer them to a book to read so they can get the basics and things like that. They never do. So they just come back and ask more information. So I said, I want to reach this generation, this, millennials, and I want to be able to give them a book that they can relate to with a catchy title, like off of Netflix and chill, and basically kind of talk about my experience, my bad, bad issues that I went through, the good hurdles that I've got overcome, and some of my wins. So I kind of put that all in one book. So that kind of just talks about how to buy property, how to finance it, tenant proofing, Section 8, screening is a big chapter in my book. So we talk thoroughly about it, and it's been getting great reviews. I think it's at 4.5 stars on Amazon, 50+ reviews. So people really love the book, and they can relate to it, and it's very conversational, and it's an easy read. So.
Yeah. Beautiful. And and then thinking about teaching kids investing for that series, what are some of the most important things? If there's somebody's a mom out there, or they're a parent, they have kids, what advice do you give them to teach about investing in real estate?
So in our books, we try to simplify it as much as we can. And basically it's just teaching children about how important it is to invest, to grow your wealth, about saving. Another theme in our book is delayed gratification. That's what makes successful entrepreneurs is, building that delayed gratification that you can't teach your children, that the minute you get money, you go out and buy candy with it or buy a toy. So some of the things we talk about in the children's book series, it's about 8 of them right now. And so those are some of the things: leadership, delayed gratification, what savings can do. Like, can you put it in the stock market? You can also put it in a savings account and get some small interest off of that. So different ways that, children can invest. We even, discuss, I have a book on Valerie the Vendor, and that has one of our best sellers, because parents can actually go and help their child, purchase a vending machine. And then that's kind of like a little job for them. So it's bigger than just like the lemonade stand. They're actually responsible, and they can learn what profit and, sales are. And they can learn so many things about business on a small level that they're responsible for. So.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even know this was a possibility. So tell me more about this. So you can count, like, how much is a vending machine, and how does that even work? Yeah.
So actually, my kids are actually saving for one now. They want a bubblegum machine, and they also want the bigger one that allows people to use their debit card. So what we're working on, the bubblegum machine we can get for $350, and then the other bigger one is like, $1,000 and up. Sometimes they range about $2,500 if you want a brand new one. But that's something that my children are using their allowance. They also sell their books, so they're putting that money away. And
then where do these go? Like, I'm so fascinated by this.
So you can.
What do you do with this vending machine?
I'm sorry, they have companies where you can actually place them. I know someone who has theirs placed in the break room at the post office. There are some people that have theirs at an office. There are some people that have theirs at a laundromat. So there's so many various ways, hair salons, different places where you can place them. We're actually going to go with an agency and not do the placement ourselves. But there's so many ways to place them, and the children can go and restock and get their money out and count what their profits are after they paid for the merchandise to put in there. So I think it's a great way to show children about investing and starting a business.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. So going back to your real estate investing, so you started off with flipping these 2 condos. What are you focused on now? What are your current investments?
So right now I am rehabbing a multifamily. So we just got through with one unit and now we're working on the second. We also have a commercial building that we're going to be rehabbing soon. So we bought the commercial building last year, but right now we're kind of like not touching it because there is a specific grant that the city of Chicago is offering to help entrepreneurs revamp certain corridors of commercial buildings. So right now we're trying to see if we're going to be chosen for that, but we're really excited because it has 2 commercial units and 1 residential, apartment upstairs. And so I'm excited to rent this out to another entrepreneur to help, improve the neighborhood. My brother actually co-owns it with me. That's my first partnership in real estate. And so he's already found an entrepreneur that's going to be selling smoothies and other healthy things that the community in that particular neighborhood, they don't have access to that. So I'm really excited about that. So that's what we're working on is finishing up our multifamily and then going straight into commercial to help other entrepreneurs live their dreams. So.
I love that. So I want to ask you a question that I ask everyone I interview, because I think this is where like so much of the gold comes in. What was your biggest mistake and what did you learn from it?
My first condo was my biggest mistake. I think not knowing my numbers. Back then, I feel like it wasn't as many like real estate investing like tools. Like right now, there's so many websites where they're like calculators that will help you and explain and break down the numbers. I think back then I was looking at TV shows and I didn't write down, okay, you have to pay an agent to sell your property. So you have to account for that. You have to account for all these closing fees and your attorney fees and, your holding costs when you're selling the property and things like that. So I would say it's just not knowing my numbers. And so obviously that failure helped me to understand that never go into a deal without knowing your numbers. So.
Yeah, really good advice. And what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of building $1 million real estate portfolio. So that for me is like, really something I'm extremely proud of. My husband and I have worked so hard. So, to see finally all this hard work that we've been doing since 2005 and finally kind of really increasing our net worth has been really rewarding.
Beautiful. And to what do you attribute your success?
I'm going to say discipline and persistence. Keep going. I mean, you're going to have some bad times. The economy is, is going to do what it's going to do. Sometimes you're going to get bad tenants. Sometimes your contractors are going to quit on you or, run off with your money. You're going to have bad experiences. And my advice would be to just keep going and just get better, learn from those mistakes and just, find ways to get better. So.
Beautiful. What advice do you have for a woman who's just starting out in this field?
My advice would be to find a community of women that are doing what you're doing. So I would say like mentorship is really important in real estate investing and you're not alone in this. And so there's communities of women in your local city.
Real estate investing.
Right, exactly. So right, it's perfect, exactly. So if you can find a community of women to go where you're trying to go or they're getting started as well, I think it will be so helpful in your journey. Yeah.
Awesome. And 2 more questions before we get into our famed end of show Trinity. So first, what do you wish you'd known at the beginning that you now know?
Just basically that mentorship is really important. Back then I didn't really have a mentor. And so I was just kind of feeling my way through and reading books and trying to, improve it. So now I understand like the importance of like connecting with other people so that you don't have to feel like, you're walking this journey alone. And also just they've been where you're trying to go. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can actually have someone that can kind of give you the blueprint. So mentorship.
Beautiful. And before our Trinity, how can people reach you or find out more about you?
Okay. They can reach me on Real Estate and Chill on Instagram. It's Real Estate and Chill. Facebook, Real Estate and Chill. And if you're interested in our children's book series, you can reach us on Instagram at little_owners and Facebook, Little Owners. And yeah, those are pretty much the platforms that I'm most. And then also, if you just want to check out our books, there is littleowners.com.
Okay. And when you're saying real estate and chill, is the and spelled out?
Yes, it's spelled out AND. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So now it's time for our Trinity, which is a brag, a gratitude, and desire. So what is one thing you're celebrating right now? What's your brag?
I think we're celebrating that we are kind of getting some press for little owners. So it's really exciting to see that the community is really embracing the book series for children. So that's one thing we're celebrating.
Well bragged. And what's one thing you're grateful for?
Health. The health of my family, the health of myself. So health is the number one thing I'm grateful for. Yes.
Beautiful. And last but not least, what's one thing you desire?
I desire to grow the book series so that it can reach, every, school district across America. I really want to make sure that financial literacy is incorporated into every curriculum in the school system. Children need to know the foundations before they leave school about, being able to function and be a successful adult. So that's my goal, is to make sure that kids don't leave school without knowing the basic foundation of financial literacy.
Yes, love it. Well, so shall your desire be, or so much better than you can imagine.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Pongee. This was great. I'm really inspired. I'm gonna get your books and get my daughter to read them. Aww. And I want to get her a vending machine. That's like, that
yes,
awesome.
Vending machine.
I was like, that's a great idea. Love it. So thank you so much. So y'all, you can reach Pongee at realestateenchill.com, and was it littleowners.com?
Littleowners.com, yes.
To get the books, and then real estate and chill, I think on social, and then
Facebook,
_owners. And you can find me at reigoddesses.com and at reigoddesses on social. Definitely, if you're looking for a community of women, we have an amazing community. So join. You can go to the website to join our community of women, and to get that support and mentorship, which is so crucial. So thank you, and also subscribe and join us next time for another amazing Real Estate Investor Goddess interview.
I will. Thank you so much for having me. Bye.
Thanks for coming.
You have just listened to another episode of Real Estate Investor Goddesses, a show dedicated to sharing stories of women creating real wealth through real estate. If you found value on what you just heard, feel free to share with your friends. Visit us at reigoddesses.com to learn more about our programs and live events, as well as to access other resources. Until next time.